Over a year into dating, my boyfriend randomly called me one Sunday night and said, "I've been meaning to tell you something. I actually have two kids." I had no idea. My boyfriend hid the fact that he has kids for over a year, and now I don't know if I can ever trust him again. Before you judge me too quickly, I need you to understand something. I have dated men with kids before, and it has never been a deal breaker for me. But imagine being in a relationship with someone for over a year, planning a future together, talking about maybe having kids someday. And then one random Sunday night, during a completely normal phone call, your boyfriend casually drops a sentence that makes your stomach completely fall out from under you. He says, "I've been meaning to tell you something. I actually have two kids." Two kids. Not only did I not know they existed, but they're 21 and 19 years old. And if that wasn't shocking enough, the reason he finally told me after hiding it for an entire year? Because he wants me to attend his daughter's college graduation with him. And now I don't know if I'm overreacting, or if this is the kind of lie you can never come back from. So here's what happened. I honestly don't even know where to start with this because my brain has been spinning ever since the conversation happened. For context, I'm a 37-year-old woman, and I've actually dated men with kids before. It's never really been a deal breaker for me. I know for some people that's a huge boundary, but for me it never has been. Life happens. People have pasts. Relationships end, families change, and sometimes kids are part of that story. So the issue here isn't really that my boyfriend has kids. The issue is that I found out about them after being with him for more than a year. And he never once mentioned them. My boyfriend, who I'll call A, is 42. We've been together for a little over a year now. Our entire relationship has been long distance. I live in California, and he lives in Illinois. When we first met, we actually connected online through mutual friends. We started talking casually at first, just texting here and there, and then eventually we started having longer phone calls. The more we talked, the more we realized we had a lot in common. He's funny, easy to talk to, emotionally supportive, and honestly just seemed like a genuinely kind person. Before I knew it, we were talking every day. Eventually we decided to meet in person, and that's when the long-distance relationship officially began. Because I work remotely, our arrangement has actually worked pretty well. About once a month we take turns visiting each other. I'll fly out to Illinois and stay with him for about a week, working during the day and spending evenings together. Then the next month he'll fly out to California and stay with me for about 4 days since his work schedule is a little less flexible. It's not the easiest setup, obviously. Long-distance relationships come with their own set of challenges. But honestly, we've been making it work. We've spent holidays together. We've taken short trips when we could. We FaceTime constantly, text throughout the day, and generally stay very connected despite the distance. Up until now, I genuinely felt like our relationship was solid. We've even had conversations about eventually closing the distance gap. Nothing immediate, but definitely future plans, like maybe one of us relocating once the timing made sense. At least, that's what I thought. Because something happened last Sunday night that completely shook me. We were on the phone like we usually are on Sunday evenings. We normally talk for a couple hours, just catching up about our week, work, life, random stuff. But that night felt different almost immediately. He sounded nervous. Not the usual relaxed version of him I'm used to hearing. After a few minutes of small talk, he suddenly said something that immediately made my stomach tighten. He said, "There's something I've been meaning to tell you." Now, normally when someone says that, your brain immediately starts racing through possibilities. Did he lose his job? Is he sick? Did something happen to his family? But I definitely wasn't expecting what came next. He paused for a few seconds and then said, very carefully, "I have two kids from my previous marriage." I swear my entire body just went cold. My stomach dropped so fast it almost made me feel sick. Two kids. And in the entire year we've been together, he had never mentioned them. Not once. Not casually. Not indirectly. Nothing. At first I genuinely thought maybe I misunderstood him. So I asked him to repeat what he said. And he calmly told me again that he has two children. A daughter, L, who is 21 years old. And a son, N, who is 19. And I just sat there on the phone completely stunned. Because this wasn't some small piece of information. This wasn't something minor. This is something huge. Something that most people mention pretty early on when they're dating someone. And suddenly my brain started replaying our entire relationship looking for clues that maybe I somehow missed. But the truth is, there weren't any. Early in our relationship, he did tell me he had been married before. That was never hidden. And at some point early on we even talked about kids. But the conversation was always framed around the future. Like whether we would want kids someday. Never once did he say he already had them. So when he dropped that information on me Sunday night, it felt like the ground shifted underneath me. After he told me about them, he started explaining the situation. He said his kids live with their mother, his ex-wife, who I'll call G. According to him, they've lived with her basically their whole lives. He said when they were younger, he and his ex were both very young parents who were still trying to figure life out. Eventually, their marriage fell apart, and they separated. After that, the kids primarily stayed with their mom. He told me that he's always felt like they were better off with her, that she was more stable, more organized, and better equipped to raise them. He said he paid child support regularly. He said he always made sure they had what they needed financially. And he said he would send birthday gifts and Christmas presents every year. But when it came to actually being involved in their lives, he admitted that he really wasn't. He said he and the kids don't have much of a relationship. Apparently his ex will occasionally send him updates about how they're doing. Sometimes he'll talk to them briefly. But for the most part, they've grown up without him being very present. Hearing that made the situation feel even stranger. Because now I wasn't just processing the fact that he had kids. I was processing the fact that he had kids he barely has a relationship with. And I honestly didn't even know how to react in that moment. My mind kept going back to one question. Why didn't you tell me?
So I asked him exactly that.
Why would you keep something like this from me for over a year? Especially when we've had multiple conversations about the future, about family, about serious relationship stuff. He said he understood why I was upset. He said he had planned to tell me earlier, but he kept putting it off because he didn't know how to bring it up. And then he dropped another detail that honestly made everything feel even more overwhelming. The reason he decided to tell me now is because his daughter, Elle, is graduating from college this year. Apparently, she invited him to attend the graduation ceremony. And he wants to go. Which, to be clear, I completely understand. That's a huge moment in a parent's life. But then he said something that really caught me off guard. He said he wants me to go with him. And I honestly didn't even know how to respond to that. Because from my perspective, that would be incredibly awkward. I've never met these kids. They barely even have a relationship with their own father. And suddenly I'm supposed to show up at this huge milestone event as his girlfriend? It just felt wrong. So I told him exactly that. I said that graduation is a really important day for his daughter. It should be about her, about celebrating her accomplishments, not about introducing a girlfriend she's never met before, especially considering the complicated dynamic already there. And on top of that, I told him I'm still trying to process the fact that he hid this from me for so long. Because the truth is, I feel really conflicted right now. On one hand, I do care about him. Our relationship has been really good in a lot of ways. We've built something meaningful over the past year. But on the other hand, this feels like a massive breach of trust. Having kids isn't the issue. The issue is that he chose not to tell me. For over a year. That's a lot of time to keep something like that hidden. And now I can't stop wondering what else he might be capable of hiding. So, after our conversation started getting more emotional, I told him I needed some space. I told him I need time to think about everything and process how I feel. He said he understood, and that he would give me the space I asked for. But ever since that conversation, I've been going back and forth in my head. Part of me wonders if this is something we could work through. But another part of me feels like the foundation of trust might already be broken. Right now, I'm honestly leaning toward ending the relationship. Because if someone can keep something this big for me for an entire year, I don't know if I'll ever fully feel like I know the whole truth about anything again. And that's where I'm stuck. Trying to figure out whether this relationship can survive something like this. Or if walking away is the smarter choice. So after being in a long-distance relationship with my boyfriend for over a year, he suddenly told me he has 2 kids he never mentioned before. Now he wants me to attend his daughter's college graduation with him, and I'm struggling to decide if I can trust him after hiding something this big.